Hi, are you an author in the middle of self-publishing your next book? Somewhere along the process, you've probably heard about creating an audiobook. You've been encouraged to make an audiobook. You know friends who've made the investment in creating an audiobook, but you can't bring yourself to get started because getting into the technical weeds just seems too daunting. But what if we could take that all away? What if we could remove 90% of the technical barriers, so all you would have to do is show up to the microphone and record? Or maybe you don't want to record your own audiobook. That's totally fine too. We have an experienced team of professional narrators that would love to audition for your audiobook. Our Done For You service guarantees that you will have a professionally produced audiobook ready for commercial release. If you're ready to get started today, please click the link below and schedule a free call. We can't wait to hear from you and to get started on your project.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement. I am author Stephen Urias. With me, as always, is my best friend and publisher, Susan Gabriel. Susan!
Hi. Huh. I almost missed this podcast. I almost slept through it. I've been so tired lately, and somebody talked me into taking a nap. But that was hours ago.
Well, I'm so glad you got up because we have an amazing guest today. But before we get into our guest, we are sponsored by Soul Sunshine. As always, if you are an aspiring author and you want to be published, go to soulsunshine.com and reach out to us. We'd love to publish you. How was your week?
It was great. How was yours?
It was productive. It's been a very productive week. We got 50,000 views on YouTube. Yay!
Yay.
It's grown so much, and it's so exciting that it feels good. We're getting out there, and
we're moving forward.
People's lives, and we're bringing forth that shine. I just absolutely love it. Looks like Dan is with us today. Hey, Dan, out there, how's it going?
Hi, Dan.
So we have our first a fantasy writer in the realm of fantasy. Well, I guess we did have the dragon book that we did. That'd be fantasy realm, but she's got so many different novels out there that she's written, and she is absolutely fun to be with. We've been talking and just laughing and cracking up all week. She's a good person and a fellow geek. So without further ado, let's bring Christen Stovall to the stage. I know I pronounced that right. Hey, Christen.
You said it right. It's Christen Stovall. Well done.
Yeah. I knew that education was going to get me something somewhere in life.
It helps.
Sometimes you just get tongue-tied, and sometimes you look absolutely brilliant by saying something profound, and people just go, yeah, but being able to enunciate names, that's not a strong point, but I got yours correct.
I have a habit of stumbling over my words and then going, I can word, I'm an author.
We can little word and big word all at the same time.
All the words.
All the words. Yes, we have all. Love it. I love it. That reminds me of the conversation we were having earlier where I had a typo in our chat and you had such a brilliant word for that typo, and I want to make this go viral because it needs to be out there with this. What did you call it?
It's a book blooper.
Yes! A book blooper. We need to have book blooper go viral, man, because that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect.
Because they're going to happen. It doesn't matter how many times you read it, how many times someone else reads it. Your editor will always find the book bloopers. My theory is they hide while we're reading them, and then they come back out when others read them. That's how they work.
Yeah. But blooper was totally 80s and 90s, and we need to bring that word back, man. It's a great word. It's a great word. So you're the author of the book series Song of Souls Trilogy and the Fae Touched Chronicles. So Introduce yourself to our viewers. Let us know more about you.
Well, I'm Christen Stovall, and I wrote the fantasy trilogy, The Song of Souls, and a prequel to that one, The Twisted Path. Then I co-wrote the Fae Touch Chronicles with a very good friend of mine and an incredibly talented author, Jennifer Sanders. And then I recently finished my 9th novel, which is called Destiny of the Fallen, and I wrote that for a brand new production company that's doing fully voiced, professionally acted audio dramas called Adventurous Ideas.
Oh wow,
Wow. That sounds great.
that does.
That's been an adventure. It was being given an idea and told this is what we want, and then going, all right, I didn't come up with this, but now I'm going to make it my own. That was a challenge, and I liked that.
A challenge. The challenge. That is freaking cool, man. I mean, coming to have somebody come and be like, "Hey, can you do this?" and go, "Sure, why not?" And then making something realistic and cool with it. And that is...
They gave me what ended up being maybe the concept. They gave me the concept, and then what would have covered things that happen in maybe I think the first 3 to 4 chapters. But then they were very good about saying, just make it your own, go with it, and they seem happy with where I took it. So
wow, that's great. That would be so much fun.
it was a lot of fun, and the whole team at Adventurous Ideas, they're just really awesome people. They're creative, enthusiastic, supportive. It's a great company to work for. Occasionally I have to silence my nerd brain when someone comes in and I recognize them from something, or they say this person's going to be working with us, and then my brain goes, oh, nerd heaven.
Don't ever silence the nerd brain. Their nerd brain must thrive.
I have to seem professional on the Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Play it cool.
No, you can totally geek out. You can totally geek out, man. That's awesome.
It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
So you write fantasy, and your book, The Song of the Souls, or Song of Souls. My bad.
That's the name of the trilogy.
You got me geeking out over here too. So let me rewind back here.
Okay.
Professional, like you said.
Right. All professional.
Right. What is your inspiration for the Song of Souls trilogy?
Well, it's sad, actually. I was, when I was 28, I was widowed after a year and a half of marriage. He suffered a traumatic brain injury in his late teens, and he chose to end his life a year and a half after our wedding. And when that happens, the life you planned is over with. So and I put this in the book. It's not just the one life that ends. It's that life you had planned. It's the kids you don't have, the holidays you don't celebrate. And writing the Song of Souls trilogy helped me to say goodbye and kind of make sense of what was so unbelievably senseless in my mind at that point. So the first book, Soulbound, it starts off with the death of her husband, and then they form a bond. Their souls do, because they're soulmates, and through that bond she becomes what's known as a soulbound, and they're a magical order of women who can heal through that connection to their lost loved one. And then she gets thrown into an adventure that's just way above her pay grade. So but it was very therapeutic to be able to, when my husband died, it was fairly public because I don't live in a very big town, and everything that happened, people just knew. And it was a way for me to sort of work through those emotions and talk about it, but in like a safely distanced space.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't realize that with authors, is that we put a lot of our pain and a lot of our trauma into stories.
Yeah.
And it is a complete healing process in that, because we tie our emotions into creativity. We put our stories out there so others can maybe have some healing in it of their own selves, and being able to just feel that's absolutely incredible. Thanks for sharing that with us.
It put me on a path that I'm very happy with now. So, but those 3 books will always have a different sort of place in my heart, because all of my stories mean something to me, but those were personal in a different way.
I hope that your listeners and your viewers and your fans all know what emotion you put into it, because that's deep. That's super deep right there.
Yeah, it's a lot to be going through in your late 20s. You do not expect to be experiencing those things. So
Well, at any age, really. Come on now,
no,
don't limit it to the late
no.
20s there.
Well, I mean, when you get married, you do know at some point one of you will go. You just, when you're young, you think it's going to be decades later. It's
Right.
not always decades later.
Yeah,
So
that's
true.
true.
So true. So then your next series, the Bay Touch Chronicles. What was your
Yes.
inspiration for those?
Well, that one actually had a totally different start. I'd been friends with my co-author, Jennifer Sanders, for gosh, years. It's been over 20 years now. I met her when I was 19 and just a little baby fledgling writer playing in Lord of the Rings fan fiction.
Nice.
And years later, we were talking and we decided to write something together. It was sort of a birthday present for me. So she came up with sort of I gave her the decade, the century I wanted it to take place in, which was Victorian era England and Scotland. And then she kind of came up with a set of characters. I had mine that I came up with. And then we wrote different characters and we took turns writing back and forth. So it was like role play meets novelization. And at first it was just a fun little game. It didn't have really strict plot lines or anything, so we were just playing around. And then years later, Outlander came out, and I said, this sort of stuff is really popular right now. Maybe we should do something with this. And then that turned into 4 books and potentially more at some point.
Very nice. The rise of nerdom has definitely been liberating in so many aspects,
Yes.
because being a nerd in the 80s and 90s was hard, man. It was
Yeah, it was derogatory to be called a nerd. Like that was,
exactly.
you didn't want to be called a nerd. That was when people were mean to you. And now nerd culture reigns supreme.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it always really has in the background. I mean, when you were a part of it back in the, we'll call it the olden days, because we've gotten so old now.
Yeah.
It was like below the surface. It was, you got into these things, but you knew that it was emotional. You knew that it was coming out, and more people were starting to get into it. Whereas
Yeah.
now, as horrible as it may sound, a lot of us will question you new nerds out there, like, why are you a nerd? Why are you into this? You don't understand what I went through to get to this point. But
Have you earned that title?
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it used to be that just there was pretty much just Star Trek conventions. That was the thing.
Mhm.
That's where you were going to meet your fellow nerds. Was the Star Trek conventions? Maybe they were a Klingon, but you were all probably in some uniform.
Hmm.
I've been to one Star Trek convention and a few Comic Cons, but then Comic Cons came out. And I really think when the Lord of the Rings movies and the Harry Potter movies came out, that was when it started to kind of shift and
Yep.
it really started to gain momentum.
Star Wars. I
Well,
said
yeah,
Star Wars.
but I mean in terms of getting like tons and tons of attention nowadays, like
Oh,
where we are now with the Comic Cons and stuff.
I agree, and of course, like with that came the Big Bang Theory, where it just displayed all the nerd in so many
Yes.
different aspects of things, and put us all out there and made it work. And there were these characters that were just so lovable and so relatable for us nerds. I related with every single one
Exactly.
of those characters in
Exactly.
that show.
I just started a rewatch of that series the other day.
Nice,
So
very
yeah.
nice. So when you write um, fantasy, do you just go strictly off your imagination?
Um a lot of it comes from my imagination, but I also like to tap into folklore and different legends. I listen to a lot of just sort of orchestral music and then I kind of let a story evolve from there. But I really do get a lot of inspiration from folklore and mythology, things like that. I always like to incorporate elements of it, but I try to use them in slightly different ways. Like stay true to the origin of the folklore, the mythology, but just put my own tiny little twist on it.
Definitely. Do you do like research into things, histories, families,
Uh,
time
I'm
frames?
I'm kind of a huge history nerd, so I just do that anyway. It's just I might just get more specific on certain things. For instance, in my latest book, I needed to research coliseums and the arenas and gladiatorial fights and things like that. So, but
There's
it's mostly just an excuse for me to watch a bunch of documentaries, which I'm gonna do anyway.
there's a movie called Gladiator that showed the Colosseum in all its glory.
It's true. It's true. But I'm not a big Russell Crowe fan. I'm always like, oh, this would be great if it weren't for him. He's all right. I just,
Oh,
he's okay.
That's
But I
funny.
wanted to kind of look more into the historical accounts of it, and I was looking for specific little details here and there. So,
mhm.
and I try not to watch when I'm researching. I try not to do things like watch the movie because you might inadvertently put something in there from the movie, with it's just you don't even realize you're doing it. So I
Yeah,
try not to do that too much.
but
So
you could
true.
use that as an excuse to go to, say, Italy.
Yeah. I have used it as excuses to go to England.
Uh-huh.
I have
There
a
you
place
go.
to stay when I'm there, though, so it's much more financially feasible
Oh,
to
Mm,
just go and stay and
yeah.
then
speaking
go
of,
to all the castles in the area.
Mhm.
that'll definitely be a fun vacation right there.
Oh,
Definitely do
amazing! I
that.
love it there.
But you have a fellow history nerd in the chat. She loves history nerding out. Thank you, Serenity.
Yay!
You have definitely brought the history on things out on there. It's been absolutely fun to get into that whole realm of things.
Yeah, love.
Thank you.
I'm especially into English history. So, and with Fae Touch Chronicles, we did tie in just a little bit of Jack the Ripper because I also like true crimes.
Wow.
It wasn't. It was just more of a mention than anything else to kind of give you a time frame as to when it's happening, and it did tie in very slightly, but not in an impactful way. But yeah, if you
I
can give a nod,
kind of getting
something
off
very well
track.
known.
Kind of getting off track there a little bit. I read recently that they may have actually solved who Jack the Ripper was.
Yeah, there's one gentleman who keeps insisting he's solved it, but then a lot of other people are like, so I don't know. It's one
Yeah,
of those things I don't think we'll ever know.
you gotta keep that lore alive anyway. I mean,
Yeah,
every generation will have their theories on it, but
exactly.
gotta keep that lore alive. Gotta keep that name out there.
Exactly. Well, and if it had been solved, it wouldn't still be something we talk about. It's the fact that it's not been solved that keeps it in the public consciousness, I think.
So true. So very true. Speaking of public consciousness, when you write your characters, are any of the characters actually you?
No, although characters often end up being. There is one character in the Song of Souls trilogy that is pretty much a friend of mine. Lysander the Wizard is basically my friend Eric. And then there have been other characters that as I was writing them, I'd go, hey, this is this person. But I never really make them myself because, I don't know, that would be weird for me. I mean, I think there's elements of me in every character I write.
Okay, so kind of a smorgasbord of all the characters have
Yeah.
little pieces of you that you put into it. That
Yeah. Like I really hate being underground. I'm claustrophobic. So like the leading lady in the Song of Souls trilogy doesn't like to be underground. I'll do things like that. Little connections, but I never really make them entirely me. So,
think about it one day. It's fun to actually put yourself into a character and then the things that you can actually do with that character all the way
well,
up
the fun
to
for me is experiencing a different life, just being somebody else. I more than anything, I like to just get into the character, and I don't want them to be me. I want them to be someone else, and I can experience life through their eyes.
Uh-huh.
So,
when you sit down to write your next novel, do you just write or is there a process that you go through for it?
coffee. Lots of coffee. No, I usually start with I'll get my cup of coffee. I'm very much a routine person, so I have to have my coffee and now that I have a dog, part of that is getting her out and fed. And then I'll turn on music that inspires me and drink my coffee, maybe watch a few little shorter things on YouTube. A lot of times it's movie trailers. I don't know, like for movies that I really like. That'll be one of them. I don't know why that one works, but it gets me revved up creatively. Also, the Never Ending Story theme, that song, I have to sometimes just power listen to that to get going.
There you go. There you go. That whole turn around. That one, yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. I kind
Stranger
of grew up with
Things.
that movie. So
Excellent movie. Excellent movie.
it is.
Stranger Things touched on that one where the two characters had to sing that song back and forth to each other.
They did.
Fantastic
Yeah,
scene. It was so much fun.
I watched the first season and I get scared easily, so it's a little too scary for me. I did make it through the first season, and then I got really mad with the second season because I was like, with the things that just happened, why are you people making stupid choices? Like anyone who's been through that would not do the thing you're doing. So and then I was like, and it got creepy, and then I heard what happened to Sean Astin's character. I was like, no, I cannot watch Samwise Gamgee undergo that. As long as I don't watch it, it didn't happen.
I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one. But he'll always be Samwise.
Well, the
Or
other thing is,
Rudy.
as a fantasy author, my imagination, like cultivating it and not controlling it, is a big part of it. When I watch something scary, then I'm laying in bed, even as an adult, thinking, what is that shadow? Okay, that's the bathrobe, I think. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. True crime dramas are the ones that'll get me like, man, that actually happened. What? Somebody actually thought that. Somebody did that? No.
yeah.
No.
I'll go through true crime phases where I have to watch a bunch, and then I start thinking about whether or not someone could just break into my house, and I have to stop for a while and then watch funny. Usually, I have to then watch Star Trek because that'll purge my mind.
Yes, I can see that.
I watch true crime because I go, man, nobody has gotten away with anything. Look how intricate they got there. They got this dude off of one hair or this girl off of one text message.
It's clearly much harder to be a serial killer in this day and age.
So true.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
I was just going through a true crime phase, so I was thinking about that. That's when I move one of my swords close to the bed, just so I'm like, it's fine.
Oh,
it's fine.
yes, sword. Good choice of weapons.
I agree. It's a lightsaber without the lightsaber.
I have a lightsaber too.
Nice. I gotta know. Red, blue, green, purple.
I got just a straight white light, and then I can put color discs in. Change the color.
Do you
But
change
it
the
is
color?
stunt grade. Sometimes, but not very often, because I don't want to bother with getting into the lightsaber and doing that. So,
Gotta change your kyber crystal out.
yeah. I'm afraid I'll crack the kyber crystal. It wouldn't be any good then. That's what the Sith do.
Yes, you gotta bleed that kyber crystal, exactly.
But it is stunt grade, and I can attest it hurts really bad when they hit you. Because my brothers and I went through a phase. So
that's a story. That's a story for another podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, so what's your goal with the series? Do you wanna see them made into movies, comics, streaming series?
I mean, I think it would be cool to see my characters brought to life. I would want them to be brought to life in the way that I wrote them. So I want them to look reasonably close to who I picture, and I always sort of mentally cast people anyway. And that'd be great. But I think the most important thing to me is just that it resonates with people. I couldn't care less if they necessarily ever become big and famous. Yes, that'd be lovely. I wouldn't be upset if that happened, but it would just, I know what the books that inspire me really mean to me, and I just hope that something I wrote inspires people that way. That it just stays with them. And if they're going through something hard, it helps them sort of escape that, because I know that that was another thing for me. So that's really what matters the most to me with my writing.
That's awesome. As authors, one of the hardest things we do is to put our books out, because we have to then be judged by what we put out. And
Yeah.
when it comes to being judged by what we're putting out, because we put so much time, effort, passion, heart, emotions into what we write, if it's not liked by everyone, there's that small sense of, ooh, did I do something wrong? And then we question ourselves in that aspect. But
I try not to do that too much.
Trust me, I'm there with you. But there are those moments that if you get a little bit of discouragement on there, but I love seeing.
If a comment is constructively criticizing something, I will take that into consideration as I move forward and think, okay, how can I get better at this thing that they found lacking? But if it's just somebody I didn't like, there are the constructive criticisms, and then there are the people that just, they don't like it. They're not going to like anything about it. They're going to be nasty about it. I just ignore those. They just go crazy if you listen to those.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I always feel like if you didn't like it, why did you read it?
Right.
Why
You
did
could have
you
just
keep
stopped.
reading it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't read it. Just return it to the library.
Yeah. I try to stick with the, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I won't generally leave a comment or a review on something if I didn't like it. But I will if I did like it. So when I think about it, it's, I get frustrated when people read it and they're like, oh, it's so good. And they tell me that, but then they don't leave a review. But then I remember how often I forget to leave reviews. So it's just human nature.
Yep.
So true. So true. And those reviews are so powerful too, though, man, because one great review will get at least one other person to read your book.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's man, that's just, I love flowing with this, where you're actually, constructive criticism is absolutely important in our industry, because when we start to think that everything we're writing is great, or we start to think that this is exactly how I want it to be, and somebody actually has a legitimate point about things of, it's good, but if you would have maybe gone this way, or if you would have said it this way, then it would change the whole dynamic of things. But that whole dynamic of things then makes it to where you're getting onto that next step, and you're like, oh, it starts to make sense a little bit more.
Yeah.
I actually love that aspect.
I think that's why I like really tough editors. I like, be mean, like just rake me across the coals, because it helped me. One, I don't want an editor to tell me how good I am. I want an editor to tell me what I'm doing wrong. Sometimes I do, if I did something right. I also want to know when I did something right, but they're not helping you if they just sit there and tell you how good it is. They need to tell you where it's not good, what you did wrong. And I was very fortunate in the Song of Souls trilogy in that I had an editor that was very tough, and it forced me to grow, and I feel like I did become a much better writer. And it's also made it easier for me when I see the constructive criticism to go, okay, this is useful, this is just rubbish, I'm gonna throw it away. So
that, to be able to put your ego aside and actually say that and feel that and change that's what's incredibly important about it. You have to do that in order to be able to produce a great book to the point where people are actually going to want to read it and then find out what happens next.
It's the weirdest thing. You have to both have a very good sense of ego about your writing and also no ego. You have to know when to listen to the ego and when to just go, you know what? Just settle down. So.
Absolutely. Do you have any plans of venturing outside of the fantasy realm?
I did actually write a sort of horror story for an anthology series for Adventures Ideas. It's just one episode. The series is called Adventures. It's Dark Park is the series, and the episode I wrote, which it's still a ways off before that one will come out, but it's Dark Park, Darkly Ever After. And the idea is that this group of teenagers go to a haunted or possessed, I kind of like, theme park that is fairy tale themed. So that was a venture for me to do something scary.
And you did one part of that?
I did one episode of that series, so that episode will be written by me. And then they put it into screenplay format.
Mhm.
And then with like Destiny of the Fallen, which is fantasy, I just wrote the novel and then someone else puts it into screenplay form. But that will be the first season of a series.
That'll be on television or movies or
It'll be an audio drama.
audio drama.
Yes. With
That's cool.
professional actors, names that people know and recognize. I can't say any of them, but but they are recognizable names. They're not going to be like Johnny Depp or anything like that, but especially in nerd culture, they are names that people would recognize from other things.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah,
Super
it's
exciting.
pretty cool.
Is there an area of fantasy that you want to write about?
I mean, I generally do if I want to write about it. I would like to do something in maybe Tudor era England and incorporate fantasy into that. But I really like medieval fantasy. I like the castles, the horses, just the aesthetic of it all. Swords. So
Do you incorporate dragons into it? I haven't read the books, so I don't know, but
I have incorporated dragons here and there. I haven't done a story at this point that focuses on dragons. They more sort of make cameos. Because
cameo
dragons are cool.
dragons. That sounds
And
like
I
a great
do
name.
I do little dragon figurines and give them a book, and they're called book dragons, and I sell them at my booth when I do Comic Cons and things.
Very nice. I'll just check one of those out. How about, is there an area of fantasy that you want to just completely avoid?
Modern fantasy. I don't like it. My thing is, I don't enjoy reading it. I'm not going to be good at writing it. Because if I don't enjoy reading it, I'm not going to enjoy writing it.
Right.
Now, what do you consider to be modern fantasy?
Anything where you're past where they need horses and just historical era. Like if there's cars, jeans, TVs, phones, I don't want to do it. It's not escapist enough for me at that point.
What about like post-apocalyptic stories or things like that, where you do have the cars and the elements of it, but it's still a fantasy area because it doesn't happen?
I do enjoy I really enjoyed the Hunger Game books. So the idea does interest me. It has not interested me enough to come up with a really good storyline for it, but I do kind of like the idea of maybe some sci-fi type stuff. But again, that it's also intimidating because it's all the science that you have to research.
That sounds fun, though. I mean, it definitely is something that you can definitely expand to as you grow in there and get some very cool things coming up.
Interesting.
For other writers out there, one of the things I like to talk about is advice. And what's the best advice you've ever received?
It was at a Comic-Con. It was before I started my first book. I met one of the guests, Neo Edmund, and he was actually one of the putties in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Nice. He was there and I was talking to him and I said, "You're doing what I want to do." And he just looked at me and he said, "So do it." So I did it. And since we're friends on Facebook now, and since then he says, "You're the only one who actually did it, who I've ever said that to." It's like it was just this thing. I just needed permission or someone to just say, "Go do the thing."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's actually really good advice. Wow.
So do it. Oh, yeah. Just stop talking about doing it and doing it. Don't worry about if it's perfect when you're putting it on the page. Nobody's first draft is perfect. It's probably terrible. Just write down on paper or open a Word document and start writing, because if you don't start doing it, it's not going to get written.
Exactly. Yeah. And the other advice in there that I've always enjoyed that somebody gave me was, you don't have to write in order. You don't have to write chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. You can write chapter 11 if you think chapter 11 needs to come out right now, or you can write the ending before you write anything else, or you can write the first chapter, or
I can't.
sometimes your first chapter is going to be your fourth chapter, and you can move things around to actually create your book. Just when it comes to you, get it out, write it.
And see, I can't write out of order. If I write a scene I have to start at the beginning and work my way through a lot of times, because I more often come up with scenes that are later on. But if I write those straight away, then it's out of my head, and then I lose inspiration. Like, I lose the drive to write the rest of it because I got that out of my head.
Oh,
Yeah.
And also, I like it to be in. It just helps me to stay focused to have it in sequence. But I know a lot of writers who are comfortable writing outside of sequence. My co-author, in fact, she's like, "Well, we could go ahead and write this," and I go, "No, we can't do that. That's madness. I cannot do that." But every author has their own process. I really believe that there's not necessarily a right or wrong way. And don't listen. Anyone who says never start a book this way, just don't listen to them at that point. Different readers like books to start in different ways. I love books to start with description.
How long does it take you to write a book?
It depends on the book. Ironically, my longest book I got done the fastest. It's close to or over 500 pages, and I did it in about 3 or 4 months. But there was a worldwide pandemic going on, and I did miss out on my first Disney World trip, so I was driven.
Sure.
And then I've had other books that took me like a year or more to write, but generally that's on the longer end. I can usually anywhere from 6 months to a year, and that's counting the editing process a lot of times too.
Yeah.
But I tend to hyper focus and fixate, and then I'll look up and go, "Whoa, it's dark." What happened?
Those are the best things that only creatives know, that realm, that aura, that where you're in it, you're inundated in it, and nothing else matters, and the words are just flowing out, and the next thing you know, when you put that period on, you look up and it's like, what happened to Wednesday? Yeah,
hours.
It's dark, or the sun is rising, and you think, well, that's why I'm so hungry. Definitely don't.
Exactly. So you got a lot going on with everything, and it's really cool. But where do you see yourself in the next year?
Writing more books. Hopefully, I'm hoping to have some more books out. My co-writer and I were going to be working on a second generation Robin Hood story that follows Robin Hood's daughter and other various characters. And I have another book to follow, Destiny of the Fallen. I haven't started that one yet, but that is in the works. It's going to be starting up at some point soon, probably. My youngest brother recently got married, and it was a destination wedding, so everything kind of went on hold with that. And then I got a puppy, and she's 7 months old now, getting to where I can get things done. She was very busy for a while.
Feel you on that one. When we talked a little bit about when we were younger, and the whole being a geek when we were younger, but if you could give advice to your younger self, and what I want you to take in this question is, there are young people that are going to be watching this, and they're going to be looking for advice from that. I want to write a book someday, or I want my piece of the puzzle of the world to be put out there like this. What advice would you give to your younger self?
To my younger self, or just younger people in general?
Let's start with yourself, and let's see if it evolves into younger people of today.
Just keep being you. Don't be worried about whether or not you're accepted by other people. At some point, the people that are making you feel less aren't going to matter to you at all. They're not people that you're going to have in your life. The people who matter, they're going to see who you are. Just stick with that and be you.
I think that advice works for both. your younger
Yeah.
self and the people
Yes, that's really
are
good
going through.
advice.
That's what I would
Really good.
tell a lot of younger people. And I was very I was a loner, I was a little nerd. I was where I grew up there weren't a lot of fantasy fans. They weren't reading Shakespeare, they weren't watching Star Trek, and I was always kind of the odd one out. And
Mhm.
at some point as I got older, I finally just went to the point where I was like, I don't care. They're not into the things that I think are fun, so I'm going to go do my thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the invention of the internet, and we found our tribe, and we found our
Yeah.
people, and we found
Yes.
more people that think like us, act like us, and accept us. And it was just like this whole realization, but we still had that got to be home by the streetlights coming on. Yeah.
And 90% of the friends I have now, probably even more like 98% of them, are people I met online and as an adult. Like most of the people I knew as a kid that made me miserable, but they're not in my life. We might be friends on Facebook, but we don't talk. So
It's funny how that is.
yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, where did you grow up?
I grew up in a little teeny tiny town called Carlton in central Kansas. And it was teeny. Most of my childhood was spent just like stomping around the field and just pastures.
You were a nerd in central Kansas. I am
Mhm.
so sorry.
Yeah, it was not an easy place to be a nerd.
Yeah.
No, not at
Although I
all.
did like horses, so that was a connecting point. I connect on the
Mhm.
horse thing. So.
Did you want to get out really bad?
Yeah, I wanted to see the world. The top
Mhm.
place on my bucket list was England, and I've been there, and I
Uh-huh.
intend to go back. And yeah,
Uh-huh.
I would like to eventually move to England. Just no silly reason, like with I don't like the way this country is. I just like it over there.
Uh-huh.
I went over there and I was in northern England, and I got to where I was staying and I was like, "Oh my god, this is like every place I imagine in my stories. This is like the paradise that they come from." So to
Yeah.
me, like that's just the ideal of what
Mhm.
the scenery is and stuff. And I love the history and all of that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
different when you can actually see it, touch it, feel it, smell it,
Yes.
and just be absorbed in it, because
Right.
there's so much history in
Yeah.
that time frame.
What's so profound to me is you can, like you said, touch it. You can touch a wall, and somebody that lived hundreds and hundreds of years ago might have touched that same wall in that same spot. Maybe they were tired, maybe it was hot, and like to me that just it just feels sort of like eternity. It helps me remember that life goes on.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely, absolutely. That's deep. That's absolutely deep.
and then I also like to nerd out just at the castles and all the stuff there. So it's not always deep. Sometimes I'm bouncing in my seat. The first time I got to go to a castle, it was Bolton Castle. And as soon as it was in sight from the car, I was just bouncing with excitement because I was so excited to go to that castle,
Oh.
to any castle.
I haven't been to England.
It's
I haven't been across the pond, but definitely one of those bucket list items.
York is
York.
really cool.
York. I'll take your word on that one. You said you missed on your Disney World adventure. Did you get to have your Disney World adventure yet?
Yes, I've gone twice since then. As soon as it opened up again, we did reschedule. It was actually with my co-author. I'm on disability, and I'd finally, after 3 years of fighting, won disability. So they have to pay you like a payout from when you started. And so I said, we're going to Disney World. So I took her and her daughter, and we went to Disney World. So, and it was
Very nice.
amazing. And I
Yeah.
may or may not have cried when I walked in. There's no way of knowing. Well, I was very poor growing up, so Disney World seemed like a thing that would never ever happen.
Mhm.
And then it did happen. And then a few months later, my youngest brother and I are both January. Our birthdays are almost exactly 2 weeks apart. So we went back to Disney World around our birthday for a
Mhm.
brother sister birthday trip.
In January.
Yeah, but it's in Orlando.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I moved to Jacksonville, Florida, a few months ago,
Wow.
coming to realize that winter is still 77, 78 degrees, and
Yeah.
it's you can. My daughter, whose birthday is in December, is like, Dad, I can have a swimming party for my birthday. I couldn't do that back in Colorado. And be like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be going to Colorado on Thursday. So,
Nice.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. With the same brother I went to Disney World with. So, but yeah, my mother and my brother and his new wife, we're all going to go. We have a friend who has a cabin up there, and they let us use it from time to time. So we're just going to go up there and relax, and it'll be
Go up in the
nice.
mountains.
Great.
Yes.
The mountains of Colorado are beautiful.
They are gorgeous.
Yes.
And the air, it's so fresh up there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's little chipmunks that run everywhere who have gotten used to people.
And all the tiny hummingbirds. I love the hummingbirds.
The hummingbirds are awesome for sure.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I grew up in Colorado. Yeah. You're bringing back memories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. So, what other nerd culture stuff do you like?
Star Wars, Star Trek. I mean, history is its own sort of niche of nerd culture. Lord of the Rings is the big one. I love Tolkien. So that's actually what got me started writing is Tolkien and all of that. And yeah, basically anything that has to do with medieval fantasy will win me over, or sci-fi. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to grow up to be Luke Skywalker because he had the lightsaber, so he was cool. You know, I like Robin Hood, which debatable whether it's nerd culture, but yeah, I mean, Hunger Games. That's also sort of falls into nerd culture. Fairy tales. Pretty much any story that sort of transports me out of the modern day to day. I always liked stories that made me feel like I was going somewhere else and experiencing something new.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything that can get you away from the reality of things right now and put you into perspective of, I know this isn't real, but it feels real, or just the thought of having a fairy as a best friend, or trying to get away from it.
Yeah, or having Fae in your lineage, which is what the Fae touched are. They're people who have Fae in their lineage, and that's what we came up with the term Fae touched in that regard. I've seen other people use it in different ways, but in the having Fae in the background. As far as I know, others may have done it. The thing is, you may come up with an idea and someone else has, and you have no idea that they also did something similar.
Right.
But,
yeah.
Now, what does Fae stand for?
It's just a sort of the fairies. It's usually used in the sort of Irish, Scottish folklore. It's another term for fairies. Fairies are Fae.
Gotcha.
Sort of,
That makes total sense.
I didn't make it up. It already existed. So.
That's awesome. Are there any comments that anybody wants to ask a question of Christen here? I think we have Dan and Trinity both watching on right now. They're absolutely fantastic. Dan said that there was a blooper alert. Yes, we definitely did have a blooper alert, but I love it. I love that. Blooper's going to make a comeback. It's going to make a comeback.
Well, I know if you search for bloopers on YouTube, you get a lot of them.
Definitely check that out.
Yeah.
And let's see. Congratulations on the 50K. Thank you. It's been coming, building up. It's been fun doing this. You said you have a Comic-Con coming up.
I do. It's here in my hometown. It's September 6th and 7th, and I'm really looking forward to it. That's actually, it was a Comic-Con in my hometown that got me in touch with the person who gave me the job for Adventurous Ideas, or with Adventurous Ideas. So, and he's pretty cool. His name is Andrew Nelson, and he actually wore the Darth Vader
Nice.
armor and everything in some of the movies and games. So I work for Darth Vader. We do have cookies.
Wait a minute. You know somebody who is in the Darth Vader outfit?
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nicest guy, very tall.
a nice Darth Vader. Okay.
Yeah.
That
Totally
is
gets
so
a bad
awesome,
rap.
man. Oh, I'm totally gonna nerd out on that one. I'm totally gonna nerd out.
Yeah, he's really cool. He was a guest at the Comic-Con, and my booth was in the aisle behind his. There was like, the curtain that they often have, so I couldn't see him from there, but I'd have to pass his table to get to where the bathrooms were. And at one point it was during one of the slow periods and nobody was there, so I just popped in and started talking to him, and really friendly guy, easy to talk to. And then at some point he peeked through the curtain and started talking to me, and we chatted back and forth here and there. And at the end, he gave me a signed picture, and I gave him a signed book. And about a month later, maybe not quite, I got a message from him on Facebook, and he asked if I wanted to be a writer for them. I said,
Now that
yeah.
Oh, that is so cool, man.
Wow.
That is so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I want to meet him.
It was the prequel to the trilogy that got me the job.
Very
Wow.
That was my pandemic project.
cool. Very cool. We got a question from one of our viewers. Christen, you shared that writing began as a way to heal after such a painful loss. How did that creative process shape not just your books, but your own journey of resilience and hope?
It did. It absolutely. I have really bad eyesight, so I can't read that there. But yeah, it definitely shaped it, and it helped me become the person I always wanted to be when I was a kid. So that's pretty cool. I don't feel like a lot of people get to say that they now get to be exactly what they dreamed about being. So it's helpful. It's helpful to know. Okay, that didn't work out, but this is good too. So.
A lot of people don't understand that when you write something, when you actually publish it does live your dream. It does give you that sense of like the first time I held my book in my hand, the very, very first time, just this feeling of emotions overcame me. Here's my book. I can touch it. I can feel it. I can smell it. It's out there for the world. People are going to read this thing. Somebody's going to buy it. And the moment that one person buys your book, you're a part of that world. And yeah, a lot of people don't see that dream or be able to experience that. It's just they don't understand that as authors that this is who we are. This is what we do. This is how we put our life, our world out there for everybody to see.
Yeah.
It's like air. I couldn't imagine not writing.
Yeah. And I think it comes from loving books to start with. I mean, there are people who don't love books, and maybe they don't dream of being a writer. I don't know. But I know that, I've always loved books. So that's always been something I've wanted to do, was to write. And, I think that's where I would think that was where it comes from people like us.
To tell a story. I did a lot of theater, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. But one thing I always found frustrating is I always wanted to sort of expand on the character. And I finally, as an adult, realized it wasn't being on stage and acting. It was storytelling that I was after.
Yeah. Right.
And I would still do theater again. It's just I don't have a lot of time for it, and it's a big commitment. So.
Yeah.
Theater. I was a theater kid myself, and in middle school and high school, when you're introduced to theater for the first time, it's stories that you've never even heard of. I mean, you're like, what is this? And then you have to actually develop yourself into that character, and you actually have to memorize those lines, and you have to actually put yourself on stage and hear the audience's reactions and live for those. One of the things that I always did in my theater was that no matter what character they gave me, I turned it into a comedy. My character was funny. I don't care how serious they were. And at the time, Seinfeld was the big show that was going on. So a lot of my characters turned into that interaction between Jerry and Newman. So I would have those moments of just Jerry, Newman, and the crowd would just go into it. But I agree with you in that aspect of being able to just tell a story.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the great thing about writing a book is you can be all the characters. Get into their heads, and
Yes.
it's really fun to write a villain. I always wanted to play a villain, but I'm 5'1.5" and have a Disney princess voice. No one's casting me as a villain.
5'1" women are the craziest villains out there. I
You
said
gotta
it.
watch out. The short girls have to be feisty. That's why we're scary.
Yes.
It's gotta be feisty. We're short.
Yes.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
It's like little dogs. They always have the biggest attitude.
Uh-huh.
It's because they're
Yeah.
tiny. They have to convince you.
Yes. That's right.
So short girls have to convince you that you should be afraid.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, but Dan says, but you have a sword, so.
I have lots of swords, actually.
Oh,
Many
wow.
swords. Like
Do you have any famous swords? Do you have like the swords from movies or anything like that?
I have the Robin of Locksley sword. I have an Excalibur. I have the long knives that Legolas has in Lord of the Rings, and I have Arwen's sword, and then I have just other swords that I found here and there.
Very nice.
So,
Are you a Renaissance Festival goer?
yes, and I did actually. At one point, I was doing different jobs at the Renaissance Festival. They would do themed weekends at Kansas City Renaissance Festival, and I would go in and be themed weekend characters. And I haven't gone in a while because it always happens when I'm really busy, and I've done it so many years that I'm like, it's really expensive, and all the shows are the same, and the shops are the same. So I can wait this year. Although I did the pub crawl. Well, I guess it was several years back now. I really enjoyed the pub crawl.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, we are coming to the end of our show. Is there anything that you wish to share with our viewers about how they can get in contact with you, find out more about your books, and get educated on upcoming releases?
The best place is the Boundless Fantasy Facebook page. That's where I do most social media. I don't like to be on social media much, so that's like the only one I'll really pay close attention to. But I'm also on Instagram if they just look up my name, Christen Stovall, on Instagram. They can also look me up on Facebook, but I'm because there are so many scammers on Facebook that I generally kind of go, do I know this person? Does someone I know this person? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the Boundless Fantasy Facebook page is good. The website is good, although there's not that the best ways to contact me through there. They'll just link you to the Boundless Fantasy page.
Very nice. And you can also purchase your books on your website.
Yeah, it goes to the Amazon links because I am visually disabled, so I don't really do a lot of shipping them directly from me because it's difficult for me to get to anywhere where I can ship them. But that's kind of, I'm going to start phasing into that where I'll be able to sell them directly.
Nice.
Right now I'm holding on to all the stock I have though for the Comic-Con. So.
That's going to be exciting. Well, I will put your I'll put your website into our post for this episode and put it out there so people can go to your website and reach out to you.
Thank you. Yes.
We can help just get more people to come check out your books.
Yes, thank you.
You're most certainly very welcome, Christen. It's been an honor and pleasure having you on our episode today.
It's been a blast.
It's been fun. I apologize. I geeked out a little bit too much on this one here. So
totally cool. I like geeking out.
Yeah,
it is. It's a way of life, and it's fun, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
And with podcasts, people like organic conversations. They like to connect with the guests and the hosts on things that they enjoy too. So.
Yeah,
I agree.
with real people.
Exactly. There's not enough of that in this day and age. We got to connect with each other more.
Right.
So.
100% agree. Absolutely, 100% agree. All right, we'll hang out in our green room for a few, and we'll talk here momentarily. We're going to wrap up the show.
Okay. Awesome.
It was nice talking to you.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. That was fun.
Yeah. Wow, she's great. Now I
is.
want to read, and we didn't meet her really until just this week. But now I want to read her books because those are the kind of books I loved when I was in, say, junior high and high school. And they just were my favorite. In fact, as I got older, those were still my favorite kinds of books. I always loved books that were set in England, set in a couple of centuries back, or even a recent England, something set in England. Always that was my favorite setting for a book. And
I love medieval times.
Yeah, and it sounds like she writes characters that sound like they would be very interesting.
We'll definitely have to. We'll definitely have to get her books and read them and check them out. That was fun. It was really fun.
It was.
Well, I want to thank everybody for spending their Sunday evening with us on Time with Curiosity and Encouragement. Be sure to check us out on all our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We just finally got onto Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. Reach out if you have any questions or if you want anybody to appear on the show. We're also looking into sponsorships. So if you want to be featured on our show or have a shout out on there, reach out to us. And I want everybody to have a wonderful, safe week. Back to school. Kiddos are going back to school now. And
we recently hit a milestone. Do you want to tell people about that?
Yeah, 50,000 views on YouTube. We reached it in a month. That was so cool, man. To wake up this morning to see that, to hit that 50,000 view mark, because man, we're getting more and more views. We're getting more and more people getting more and more to the show. All right. Well, did you wanna leave us with any words of wisdom this week, Susan?
Love books. Just keep loving books. I think books take you places, as I think there's a saying about that, but they will take you places, and I mean that literally and figuratively both.
Isn't that where the sidewalk ends, or the places will go? Oh no, where the wild things are, or the places will go. Agreed. Keep reading, keep being nice, keep having empathy, and just be positive out there, people. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys next week with another guest.
Ever dreamed of seeing your name on the cover of a book? As a book publisher, we understand the challenges of self-publishing. If you're lost in the process, wondering about illustrators, book coaches, or formatting issues, worry not. At Soul Sunshine, we're here to guide you. Let's turn your dream into reality. Contact us to get started.